I just love it. Still like 10 buttons to hit. So annoying. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Digital PNA. Thank you for being here today, choosing the third before America's Day tomorrow. I appreciate you all still working, unlike many slackers I know in my network. That's me. I'm the president of the year. We're going to move beyond this bobblehead really quickly and showcase our members. We're still in the rebuilding phase this year. So if you know any other folks that might benefit from the 2 times a month session, these workshops are great. I call them workshops because we kind of do a little bit of problem solving as well as educate versus just have a presenter like our glorious presenter today, Miss Marcelle Allen, but I won't let too much out of the bag there. But these are the members, and there's room for, I can add as many bobbleheads as the opportunities present. So just realize that growth is good, and we're looking forward to bringing in some new members hopefully this year. Need some volunteers as always. I think this will be new to CW, but everyone else knows what's going on. Looking for someone to be a photographer for the day. They can snap a screenshot. They can turn around with their camera and do a funny selfie shot, whatever. Can I get a volunteer for that? There you go. Heath is first. Thank you, sir. A tracker. I guarantee you there's going to be some data points today from Miss Marcelle. So if anyone wants to listen for quotables, Karen's got it. Thank you, Karen. All right. Well, this is going to be tough. This is between, let's see, CW's in a car, so we can't have him doing weird things. Michael's still on the call, so either Michael.
I'm parked.
We need someone to be the doodler. Actually, Mara, I need you to be the doodler because Mike has taken that mantle a number of times, but I want to see your artistic side, or in case you want to sketch any visuals from any of the notes that information Marcelle might be dropping today. Just have fun with it. We're not looking for perfection. God knows we've gotten some terrifying drawings from Mike, but his heart's in it. Exactly. That's what counts.
The bar is really low.
He made me look like a Jim Henson's character. It was fantastic. And as always, I'll take over the timer role because it's easy for me to control the screens here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Oops. Oh, we skipped ahead. Sorry. We're going to give the commercials here really quickly. I don't need to keep this screen up, but give a commercial. We're going to go around the virtual room here. 60 seconds or so. Just talk about your business, who you are, what you do, and maybe something that sets you aside from your competition or apart from your competition. We're going to go ahead and start with Michael, put him on the spot. I'm going to put the rest of the names in the chat window.
Me? My gosh.
What's that?
What? Start with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. And happy 4th, happy 3rd of July to everybody. I'm Mike with the Puget Sound Business Journal, which is, yes, a media vehicle. It's a newspaper. It's a website. It's a way to get people together in events and networking. And all of that is really important, but it's important because it also creates an audience. And Marcelle and I were talking about this at one of the PNA meetings, that the Puget Sound Business Journal for many businesses represents an audience of business decision makers and relatively affluent consumers that you can get in front of. If that's your target market, if that's the people you wish to sell to, sometimes it's a business to business sale, sometimes it's a business to consumer sale. But if you want to reach more people who have the means and the opportunity to buy things like professional services and creative services and healthcare services and insurance services, I'd love to talk with you because I can help you do that. Mike with the Puget Sound Business Journal.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, and happy 4th, everyone. Mara Hilton with Sound Care Agency. We have been for almost 9 years one of the largest backup care companies in the Seattle region. We also have a team in San Francisco. Our employed caregivers provide in-home care for families, whether it's through an employee benefits program, such as Microsoft, Facebook, all of the big tech firms offer it, and we are a vendor for that program, or families that use us directly on a temporary basis, but also if they need to hire a caregiver for their children or for their aging loved one. that's what we do. And we've been around for a while and we're constantly growing. And Mara Hilton at Sound Care Agency.
Hey, happy almost 4th, everybody. And I'm celebrating independence in the sense that we are free to create as much ruckus on the internet as we want. I mean, as much remarkable content as we may want. So lately I've been talking about this idea of the creative class and the presenting class. And here at Dreamosity, I'm trying to connect both because I feel that the more creative you are, the better leader you're going to be, and the better presenter you are, the more you're going to inspire other creative solutions in the marketplace. So excited about that. A lot of talk about social media, data art, financial joy, and of course, video. So I do pride myself in supporting what I call remarkable leaders, people with a vision bigger than their skill set, and they just want support to get there. I love to support and cheer and encourage people to do really important work in the world in a fun and playful way. So Marcel with Dreamosity. Oh, and my ask, if you guys haven't seen the last couple issues of my publication, I sent them there. You can get the last 6. Miss Karen was Miss June. So if you haven't seen that, take 4 minutes, go read it later. It is wonderful. If you like it, share it. That would make my little heart happy. If you have feedback, I am very coachable because I know I'm a creative person and not everything is like perfect the first time. So I'm open to feedback, or just, if you know somebody to feature, let me know.
Good day, everybody. My name is Heath Pierce. I'm a business performance advisor with a company called Insperity. Our mission statement is we help businesses succeed so communities can prosper. And, we provide a wide range of business services, but what we do the best is we are professional weightlifters, and we lift the heavy weights of administrative and compliance burdens that employers have, from them, so they can go back to focusing on big picture issues, the direction of the company, maybe their next branch or their next location opening. We can handle, like I said, all the administrative and compliance stuff that comes, sorry, I lost my train of thought, that comes along with having employees, something that I've been through personally as a former CEO. I just want to put 3 questions out there. Number 1 is, do your people make a difference in the way you engage and serve your customers? And I would say they absolutely do. And second of all was, how do you prioritize and invest in creating a positive workplace culture amid the demands for, quick response times, efficiency, and continued growth? I have solutions for that. And lastly is, how do you actively foster like an organizational culture that encourages employees to contribute their discretionary effort, which is effort that's over and above what they're paid for, even when faced with, multifaceted demands, of their industry. So that comes from a book called, Contented Cows Give Better Milk. And when you have employees that feel like they're supported and taken care of, the likelihood is they're going to give you that discretionary effort. So I can help arrange all that. Heath Pierce with Insperity. My ask is, introductions to people that, have employees.
All right, I am Karen Koenig with KK Financial Solutions, and I do several things: financial advisor, planner. I sell life insurance, long-term care, and other products with a holistic approach to your financial outcome. But I just want to talk about a little bit about my investment process. I use what's called the 3 C's: cash, consistency, and continuity. So some people might think, or you'll think about the buckets. Lots of people talk about buckets, but cash really has to do with meeting your short-term cash goals. Consistency has to do with making sure that you have the resources that you need to have to be focused on your lifetime goals. And then continuity could be like your legacy, passing stuff on to other family members when you pass away, or charitable contributions. So I like to approach things with the 3C philosophy. And my ask is, I just got another article published in Medium magazine. So I will put the link in the chat, and if you could share that on your social media, that would be awesome. Karen Koenig with KK Financial Solutions.
Okay, well, sorry, not Heath. CW keeps bumping in and out, so I think his connection is kind of horrid today, but we'll see if we can get him back. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm suddenly like, wait a minute, it's me. I co-run a little company called Laugh Tech with Miss Marcelle Allen. On my screen, she's right there. She's pretty cool. And we literally work with people all over the darn place to become better speakers using humor. And why is that important? Mara, I'm glad you asked, because boring sucks. There's so many people out there that we know, that we love, that we admire, that we cherish, we put up on a pedestal. And if you've ever watched their videos, or if you've ever watched them speak, you want to stick a fork in your eye. Those are people that are already good and are already accomplished, but they're not being effective. They're not getting their message across. They're not likable. They're not listenable. They're not memorable. They may not even be watchable. Those are the folks we want to work with. Those are the ideal people, because sometimes they realize that they may want to incorporate humor as another skill set within their bandolier of goodness as they're traveling across the country. Other times they just might be stuck and they may not know what's going on. The reason why, watch their videos. 7 seconds, people drop off, or pew, they go up like a firework behind me. So that's an ideal referral. We really want to work with teams that aren't on the same page, managers that aren't managing, salespeople that in general just aren't selling, or brand new businesses that want to get out the gate with a bang. See what I did there? This is a bang. It's fourth. Anyway, so that's it for now. Laugh Tech, that's an ideal referral. And CW, before you jump off again, or are you frozen? I can't tell. Oh, maybe he's gone again. We'll give him a second.
I can hear you. You're
There you
great.
go. Give us your commercial before your cell drops again.
You're great. Well, my hashtag is more doors in 2024. I commit to helping each one of you getting the lead before you give anything reciprocity back towards me. If you have somebody who you want as a real estate agent, want somebody to house you all.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that just hurt.
I think if he shuts his video off.
No,
we can-
I couldn't hear anything you were saying.
It sounded like Kilroy, and I was actually very entertained. But yeah, if he comes back, we'll ask him to cut the video and we'll give a commercial. But that was kind of funny.
He's really wonderful on the phone, just for the
He's
record.
great on he's great on the phone.
I didn't even hear what business he's in.
I don't even know how to explain it. I'm the worst person to ask that. Marcel, do you want to try to say
No,
what he's
He has to explain it.
Okay.
he'll come back on and he'll be confused because we'll have moved on to the next slide. But we are going to in a respective time. So here is the before mentioned next slide. Take a peek. I can't get my screens to turn off. Can we see that okay? Good. Okay. Here's the tangent. We're gonna go back around the room. I love this question, and and it's spelled wrong. Overheard, not overhead. That'd be weird if you had overhead. That was bad advice, unless it was on a tippy shelf. Let's go back around the room, same order. So Michael, you're first. What was the last bad advice you've ever been told or overheard? I kind of want to put the judgy person on the screen, but I'm not going to.
Okay. Bad advice. I typically try not to remember the bad advice. But well, I've been, I am continually receiving from many of my prospective customers the bad advice that they don't advertise anymore. They don't have to advertise anymore. They're getting, they get what they need from referrals. And referrals are great. That's why I'm part of this wonderful group. Referrals are amazing ways to generate business, but many of the people I talk to have such great products and services that deserve to be well known, and they're not doing enough about it. So the bad advice that they're getting is don't worry about advertising. You know, the path, the world will beat a path to your door if you have a great product. And that's not true. Always.
Wow.
I stumbled through that. Sorry. Well, I'll do better.
That's pretty deep though, coming
It's
from you.
hard to go first. It's hard to go first, Mike.
Stick Michael in a hamster cage and he digs deep, man.
Yeah, we've all had time to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be first anymore. Don't make me first anymore.
I love it. All right, Sarah, let's hear from you.
That was hard to think about for a second there, but I have relationships with my competitors because we all, you know, we do share in a lot of the same struggles. And one of the most recent pieces of bad advice that I go, which I think applies directly to company culture in what we do, because we're staffing caregivers, is the way we staff is we let our nannies and caregivers choose their assignments. Because we have so many to choose from. If maybe we would do it a little differently. And another agency owner that I had been that I've known for many, many years, she said, oh, we don't give them the choice because we know that some families prefer to work with. It's a long story, but it kind of took out the transparency in what we were trying to do. And I feel like we have more caregivers on our team that have been with us for years, or leave and come back, or refer their friends to come and work for us, because we give them that choice and we give them the information. We give them the names and the addresses of their choices of different assignments for the day. So I know it doesn't really apply to what we're talking about, but it's the, you know, I think your employees are as just much of your clients and customers as your actual clients and customers are. So culture is really big for us at our agency. So that would be, I think that's the worst advice I've ever received.
Okay, good.
Keep them in the dark. I'm like, why?
Awesome.
I've heard lots of bad advice lately. Things like, oh, you don't need a logo. You don't need a logo. Oh, just pick any color. It doesn't matter what color. Oh, branded backgrounds don't work. They're distracting. I'm like, well, they can also elevate someone with a pixie background. Anyways, there are a lot of ways to success, especially in the creative world. So I want to honor that there are actually very smart people who said these things, but I just twitch. I'm like, what do you mean you don't need a logo? You're in business. This isn't like, you know, summer camp. Anyways, that's what I got. Chris, we're answering what's a recent bad advice you've heard?
Recent bad advice. Oh, you can't do that.
Short and sweet. I love it. Actually, Chris, if you want to give a quick commercial since the last time you cut out horribly.
Yep. I'm sorry about that. So I've
Okay.
moved to a different location. Hopefully I'll be on. And I was just going to kind of tell you a story, just to kind of introduce myself since I'm so far away from a lot of you. My son and I went ocean fishing in the San Francisco Bay this last couple of weeks ago, and he's 13 years old. He put the pole in 2 minutes in. He got a striper. He got another striper. He actually caught 5 stripers that day. The limit is 2. He caught 2 halibut, and he caught 2 sharks. The sharks were too small and threw them back. 13 years old. I'd never caught a shark. I never caught a halibut or any of that stuff. Whether you're 13 or 53, you can always start. Don't look back. Just look forward. And so I don't know if more doors in 2024 came through when I was talking, but I commit to helping each one of you getting a lead that helps enrich whatever you're doing. And out of that, we might be able to know a little bit about each other, and I might be able to offer something I have to you down the road. So C.W. Nicholson and Tahoe, because it's 113 in Sacramento.
It's awesome. There you go. All right. I guess it's Heath now, since Marcel went, and then we skip back to CW.
Sure. Well, like all you, I'm the recipient of all kinds of advice. I think the worst advice I've received lately is dial the phone as many times as you can in a day. Just dial. Well, I don't oppose making cold calls. I don't believe in dialing some business without doing my research on them first.
Mm.
I don't really feel like I have the right to call somebody if I don't know anything about them. There's some people here in my company that take that, just dial and, get thrown off the phone as many times as possible. But I just don't subscribe to that. So I think it's bad advice, and I think what it does is ruin future opportunity.
That's good. Karen, how about you?
Well, I was talking to a client the other day, actually doing an annual review with her, and she decided to start attending classes from her business about financial things and how she should be investing her money. And it was some company that came in and is helping, it's classes that they're giving. And everything she told me was the opposite of everything that I have been telling her or what we have put together for her as a plan. So it just makes me go, oh my God. And then I have to re-explain everything on why we have her set up the way she is and blah, blah, blah. But also say, well, we could do that if you want to, but so I hate it when people, it's like, why are you waiting till now? I'm glad that she started taking classes on investing and that kind of stuff, but it's just like, why are you waiting till now to start doing that after you've been with me for so long? I'm the one who's been trying to get her educated and I can't ever get them to do it. So
Wow.
Anyway, that's my pet peeve.
I love it. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up the tangent of what's the best advice you've ever, or worst advice you've ever heard or been told. Oh, Karen, this is going to make you twitch so bad, but here it is. When I bought my first home, actual home, an actual house, not a condo or something. It was a straight up house in Lake Stevens. I was so proud, but I wasn't educated in the process and everything you need to know, everything you need to have ready, etc. And suddenly they're asking me for a down payment. They're asking me, to buy down the percentage. And the real estate broker at that point said, hey, I have an idea. You have a 401k, don't you? And I said, yeah, sure. And he says, you're young. You're not going to need that. Why don't you use that? And guys and gals, I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, is that what this is for? Yeah, great. No problem. Because I had two previous companies that were just pouring money into my 401 and I was matching or whatever. But point is, I blew that fund, put it down on the house. Everything was well and dandy, but never had a corporate America job ever since. So I don't have something like that. And to think of how large that would be now, had it was just been growing on its own, much less monitored and contributed toward, that's the worst advice I was ever given. And I took it like a fool. I'd much rather be out fishing just for the halibut. Boom, boom.
Not to mention the penalty you had to take to take it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure there were all types of penalties and all sorts of stupid. But man, I thought it was great. I'm like, yeah, free money. This is great. Yeah, dumb mistake. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for sharing that. What I want to encourage, which is something that actually may not be happening that much within DigitalPNA, and that's okay, but we want to make sure that you all remember that one-to-ones are important. And I just want to reiterate what that is. And it is have a meeting outside of this environment, whether you're face-to-face or still digital, since we got people across the country here. But if you can, have a one-to-one, spend an hour or longer. It's up to your choice, or even shorter, but call it a half hour about Mara, half hour about me, right? We get to know each other as people first. What our needs are second, and then opportunities really third. Like that should be the lineup there, right? Because we're trying to establish a relationship, a rapport, find out more about what's going on, how we can become the best possible referral for each other's business. Okay, so take that into consideration. And really quickly, I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. Someone tell me when you can see it. Okay, good. Thank you. Our speaker today is none other than Marcelle Allen. She owns Dreamosity. She's also an author, published author of Financial Joy, and she also has a few other things I'm sure she'll talk about. Her contact information is here, but I will also copy paste this and put this in the chat window. I'm very much looking forward to hearing Marcelle. She knows this, but I got to say it anyway. Marcelle, make sure you keep my bobblehead on the screen once we go to your sharing, which I'm sure you'll do. because you'll need to see the 10-minute mark and then the 19-minute mark, giving you a minute to wrap up for your 20-minute presentation. That's it for me, Marcel. I'm about to make you host, and you're good to go.
And thanks, Karen, for suggesting this topic today. So last couple weeks ago, when I was on the speaker lineup, I was like, what should I talk about? And she gave me the sweetest compliment. She's like, you're so creative, but how do you do creative? Like, how do you approach creativity? So I wanted to give you a little insight into my thought process with this little presentation I pulled together for you. And I hope it inspires you, because I really do feel that each of us here have a really cool opportunity right now in the marketplace. And can you guys see yourselves on the screen too, or just the slides? I see all
I
of
see
you.
myself off to the right.
Okay, that's fine then. Actually, I'm gonna do that. Okay, so remarkable visuals. I always tell people you can't be remarkable just once. I want you to stay remarkable, and feel free to screenshot any of these and or take photos. It will be recorded on YouTube, as we all know. But on the left here, actually on the right, is this classic cartoon about, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. And the fish is like, WTF, man, how am I going to get up there? Like, that's not right. And so I approach creativity a little bit like this, in the sense that there are a lot of ways to win, and there's multiple pathways to get the result you want. But on the left here is one of my signature frameworks around remarkable leadership. And I believe that to really do great in business and to be an influencer in any community or network, it's important, one, bottom left, we're always consuming content, right? You're listening to me right now. You might hear the radio on the way home. You're going to scroll through whatever social network later. You're always going to have some level of consumption. Now, sometimes we want to shorten that so we can do more of what's in the bottom right, which is content creating. How do we create? Whether we doodle, draw, storyboard, sketch, rewrite, edit, draft I call it a shitty first draft. Like, there are ways to create, and a lot of people are not comfortable in this category. And so I encourage people, get more comfortable creating. Like, if you were to give yourself a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how good of a creator are you? Say you give yourself a 3. Well, when you come to the trainings here at Dreamosity, you're going to get new skill sets to grow that. There's also a lot of other classes online or whatnot, but I encourage you to become a more confident and a clever creator. And in the top left, we have thought leader. This is obviously people with an opinion. That's why I was so happy that Brian chose this question today, because I want you to notice bad advice and realize you can say something to shift the conversation, to improve it. You can cast a vision, you can hold a workshop, you can teach people a different option. So developing that thought leader muscle, it takes you having to look at another opinion and have a different one, or improve upon it, right, for the sake of the marketplace. And then visual leader, this is this idea that the content speaks for you when you're not there, right? So this idea, whether it's a video or a presentation or a book or a recipe on Pinterest, like, the content, people can get through the task or the objective without having to actually talk to you, which is more of a kind of maybe a marketing idea, or this idea that the content works when you're asleep, essentially. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple different projects and different ways to do that. But even today, I encourage you all, pull out a piece of paper, sketch. I don't care if you draw bubbles or balloons or geese head, or like, just get in the habit of creating. Okay, so one of the things you guys know about me, I'm a numbers nerd. Maybe you don't know that, but I've been encouraging number droppers and this idea of financial literacy through data art for years, because I really believe that a lot of my clients are very sophisticated, thoughtful people. And of course, they want an ROI, they want to understand. And so I've been trying to help them understand their sphere of influence from a creative way, that you may have 10, 15 groups feeding your sales funnel, or your building out your calendar. And so right now, if you don't have a very clearly defined sales territory, I challenge you, pick 5 places that you network consistently. Start with those 5. Eventually, maybe we'll build you out to 20, but I do think we need to have a really clear sphere of influence. And then there's a lot of ways we can actually dial into how influential are we in these networks, because it's not going to be the same. People have loved this slide. I think you guys have seen this before when I was talking about reels versus stories. But right now in 2024, it's not so much about just telling my story or my brand story, how to bake cookies. but like it's very collaborative in the sense that at a business conference, you might share an ad from the conference host. You might, take a selfie, or you're talking about it. You might show somebody else's video in Instagram stories. You might share another ad or an event photo. You might go live for 5 minutes at this event. So there's this like multi-layered approach to creativity right now. And I want to encourage you to notice the variety in styles and storytelling from your collaborators, your competitors, and even your customers. What's important to them? Because the more you understand what they're excited about, the better you're going to be able to go into that next appointment with them to really serve them. So doodle the data. So a lot of you guys know I wrote a book called Financial Joy, the data behind your dreams. I literally took the profit and loss statement and repurposed the shape of it because I wanted to tell the story of my clients of how X amount of activities, in addition to all the social media and video, could get you to net profit. This graphic on the right is new in 2024 from Mr. May, my sales coach, because looking at net profit isn't something all businesses do. And I'm encouraging my clients, like, know what your net profit was last month. Were you hitting the apple? Did you have $5,000 net profit? Maybe it was only 1,000 and you had a blueberry. Maybe you had $13,000 come through net profit. And again, if you're on a team, this number may not make as much sense because you may not get this data, but I want to make it fun and social. So if you're on my team, whether you're my bookkeeper or my graphic designer, I want to celebrate with you if I got a raspberry, if the month before was a blueberry, or if I got a cantaloupe because I had a net profit of $8,000. And this is where you can take ideas from the marketplace, from another industry, and apply it to your industry. And that's where, Karen, I wanted to inspire you and everyone here, this idea that sometimes you need to create new words and definitions that aren't already there. And so if you have complaints where you're like, oh, people just don't know the rules of pickleball, or they don't know not to sell their 401k to buy a house, or oh, these employees, they don't know how to please the customer, right? Like there are ways to create pathways and solutions. And I would argue that visuals may be more effective than a long ass essay that nobody wants to read. So getting comfortable with different types of visuals. I created this idea of an instructographic, which is different than an infographic, but the idea that you're giving instructions. So step 1, step 2, step 3. They're very popular on Pinterest. Anatograms, this idea that you are teaching the elements of a bigger subject. So whether it's a 401k or a pickleball court or a company culture plan, like what are the elements of that? The better you can really dissect it and then put it back together and teach to it, the more authority and influence you may have when you're teaching. And then the wisdom guide, this is something unique to Dreamosity that I have all my clients have, where it's not a social media policy in the sense that these are the rules of how we behave, as much as here's the wisdom from our last advertising campaign. Here's a headline that crushed it, and here's a headline that maybe didn't. Or here's 3 new communities to add to our sphere of influence. Or here are, our best-selling product, right? So I feel that people should have access to the wisdom and should be thinking about, well, shoot, what worked last month? And if it didn't work, let's remove it from the best practices. Developing Digital You, just this idea of leverage, and that I want, Digital Brian, Digital Heath, Digital CW, Digital Marcel to outperform eventually real life us. And this idea that when you see it on camera or you get it recorded, whether it's radio or video or podcast, there's a lot of ways to do that. So I have a whole book out there called Developing Digital You, 250 activities, concepts, and insights to strengthen your digital you. It's on my website. I recommend you all get it if you don't have it yet. But this idea that, in maybe 1990, it was all about like dollars per hour. And now I want it to be results per hour. How many people can you train in an hour? How many impressions can you get in an hour? If you do email marketing, how many thousands of people can you reach in that hour? And so the internet is letting us collapse time in a way that one-to-one phone calling just doesn't do. Remarkable laughter, just this idea that you can teach with courses. You can elevate your brand with media bling, like as seen in or as seen on, and then clarify with infographics. So laughter in general is a very like abstract, vague idea. And Brian and I attack this like, can we teach anybody to develop their mix of humor? And I still get people all the time. They're like, oh no, there's some people that will never learn. And I'm like, let me try. Like, let me try. I will show you that anybody, any dull or monotone person can figure this out, because there is a way to learn. You just have to break it down and examine the pieces in a way that is really, really useful. Also, a small plug for Humor Heals. If you guys aren't on this Facebook group yet, we're now over like 600 members. Come network in here. Come share funny stuff. This is like my coffee, what do you call it? The place where you go when you don't have employees around, just to kind of like share funny things. Come check it out. But I think any company can find their method of humor, and how do they infuse their presentations with humor, and at what level and at what time. And I do think visuals can help with that, especially bright, fun colors. This idea of borrowing successful concepts from other things. So this is Brian's, surprise, Brian, you're on my slideshow. But this idea of a speaker sheet, which is extremely popular and well-known in the public speaking circuit. But what if we transform that concept and turn it into a community sheet? Right? So whether like it's a group like mine, Humor Heals, that I all want you to join. Again, we're well over 600 members now. But to me, if I'm asking a client to have 15 or 20 groups, I'm going to make them a speaker sheet for these, so they know what is my objective in Humor Heals. And for each of you here, it might be totally different. You could create your own group and have a one sheet. But as you really think about like the spaces that you network online virtually, make a one sheet so you can remember them. Because I tell you, the algorithm and the search, you're not always going to be able to find it just by typing the first letter, because Facebook's constantly changing, and so is LinkedIn. So again, Karen, just this idea that if you see something popular in one industry, how could you move it into your industry? Again, social media is kind of a newer, I mean, it's not that new now, but 5 years ago, this idea was very novel, right? So consider having, what are these community sheets that you could put into your wisdom guide? Because maybe, I know like with Mara and the pickleball, maybe you don't want your competition to know that there's these 6 other spaces over here that you're gonna really try to dominate and grow your customer base from. You may not tell every team where you're networking and where your best referrals are coming from. And sometimes we just want to share because we're good people, but sometimes not so much. We're good people, but we may not share the secrets, right? And then this was just an example of a client who had I had no idea what it was at first, this idea of Erland syndrome. Have you guys heard of that before? But it's this idea that certain brains don't process color, and it's not even the color, but they, like, the writing on the pages will get really weird. And so she was telling me this all with words. I'm like, I need to make it clear as day so a parent can say, okay, just like somebody might need a wheelchair, an inhaler, glasses, or these Erland filters, which are really, again, a novel concept. They're such a relief for kids who can't read, or they're fidgety and they can't see things. And so sometimes you might need to try multiple pieces of content to really educate and inform people on what is essential for them to understand. Okay, here's the thought leader prompt. You guys are all thought leaders, in my opinion. Whether or not you stand out enough online yet to be debated, but you guys are thoughtful people, and I want you to think about this. My clients' eyes start to glaze over when we get to the blank part of my sales process. Maybe like with a stock market, or with a 401k, or with some procedure XYZ, like there's some policy number, like you think about the political world and all these bills, and people just start to check out because we get lost. Anytime you see somebody else kind of yawn or glaze over when you're presenting, don't take it personal. Take it as an opportunity to create a visual, or to mind map an idea of how do you keep their attention? How do you inform them more creatively, or more strategically, or more playfully? So think about that. When do they glaze over? And that's something we can talk about later in a one-to-one if you have a good answer. And then if people could better understand blank, they would buy from me or refer to me more. So each of you here on this call have something where they're like, wait, you do what? What? You weightlift what? Like, how does this work? Like, and I've had to rework, financial joy elements, video elements to really help people lean in. But if you notice that people they're like, what? you see this word, Marcel, but what is it? Like, whatever that is for you, that to me means there's a sign for some marketing, whether it's copywriting or creative work on the visuals and kind of brainstorming. Maybe there's a metaphor. Nobody told me, well, put fruits and vegetables to the net profit. But I was like, how do I make it so easy a high school kid could get it? Like, that was my goal. I want somebody young and ambitious to be like, oh yeah, I want to go get the watermelon. So think about, if they don't understand something, how do you connect the unknown to the known? So kind of in wrapping up, did you guys write anything down or did you just listen? I hope you wrote something down. Just listening, Heath. Thank you for your honesty. But I challenge you, when you leave this presentation and you go into your car, you go at the mall, or you're out in a huge community event, start writing down notes when you walk away from that group. Whether it's a PNA in person or a chamber event, take 5 notes. Oh man, this speaker, he really did a poor job of talking about, I don't know, cartoons. Like, and have an opinion. Like, don't be afraid to say he was kind of wrong, or he didn't know about this book that I read, which maybe would be a great idea for a video or a great idea for you to teach about in the marketplace. And so just know that we're constantly in this circle. And I think a lot of you have a lot of influence already and you have a lot of impact. And I think if you can add more creativity, or maybe you need more influence, but this, again, it's not a perfect diagram, but to me, we're always doing this. The better we get at this, the better we're going to have at this. And there's just this ongoing conversation of helping people solve problems. And then when you solve important problems, people pay you, like at the end of the day. And if you can tackle some tough topics, it can just build a portfolio of really cool work. Okay, so final slide here. I want to encourage you to stay encouraged with my monthly publication. If you're not already getting these every month on the 5th or 7th, please send me your email. I'll get you on the list. And then you can go here. If you just search Dreamosity, issue, ISSUU, these will all pop up. They're also on Dreamosity.com. If you haven't seen any of these yet, I challenge you to go back to January. 5 minutes in February. These are quick and wonderful reads, but they're going to stretch your creativity and your thoughtfulness. And you might say, hey, you know what, Marcel, there was an article on sales in May. I have a better approach. Interview me. I want to help you communicate to your network better about sales. I'll take it. I'm open to thoughtful perspectives and having cool visuals to support it. So anyway, stay encouraged. It's a really exciting time to be alive. And I will stop here and open it up for questions. I have no idea how my time was on that, but.
You are doing great. You're at 16.5 minutes. So yeah, let's
Okay.
open for questions for Marcel. No need to raise your hand. You can just run over each other. Ready, set, go.
I'm getting rockets.
Well, I am like the least creative person ever, right? Like I'm a list, Excel, that's my language. And so when you were talking about like turning things into visuals, like, are there tools out there for that? Because like, and as I was trying to doodle, I'm like, I wish I had pictures on the screen that I could copy. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there's like, do we just look up? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah, excellent. So definitely pen and paper is the first place I start, but there's sites like Canva for, $13 a month. You can get access to create in like a very kind of simplified graphic way. There are tools, Brian uses some advanced tools like was it Illustrator and Photoshop. There are some really savvy things. There's Microsoft Paint, but I really don't recommend that. That's like fourth
Not even
grader,
available anymore.
Canva, yeah, I even forgotten. I have Canva and I use it.
Even on YouTube or in a search, you can say, how do I create cool graphics? How do I create infographics? How do I create a sales plan? How do I create a video storyboard? I mean, and that's where for me, like anytime my clients ask me things I don't know, I just go Google, watch 3 or 4 videos, and then I do a shitty first draft, right? I take an attempt, I take a stab at it, I get someone's feedback, and then they're like, oh, this doesn't make sense, and you try it again. That's what I'm saying. So you're constantly in this learn, create, think about it, try again, and that's okay. Like no one's expecting perfection from us every day, unless you're a graphic designer, and then you should pay them a lot of money because that's that's a hard job. There's other apps. What is this one I just have on my app? I just installed this software. It's like a doodler software. Oh, Sketch Wow. I'll use it a couple times, but you can basically build out kind of infographics pretty quickly, like kind of click and add, and then there's stairs and there's levels where you can really clarify, oh, well, what are the priorities or what are the steps? Because sometimes we're like, I don't actually know. And then you can bring in other people to the conversation on a Zoom like this. And there's actually a really cool a whiteboard option on Zoom where you can actually start sketching and doodling while people are watching. It can be quite humbling too, so tread carefully on that one. And then like watercolors, colored pencils, markers, highlighters, like there's like just bust out your school supply section, and because color can really bring things to life. And if you don't know where to start with color, search color psychology. Tons of great infographics out there on what do colors mean, that type of thing. And then honestly, Mara, because you're here and you get the doodler role occasionally, part of why we're doing that is we want people to create, even if it is stick figures or, bubbles, but just the idea that you are creating, because every meeting we leave, in theory, we should be taking some form of action because of something somebody said. Whether that's I'm going to go write an article about it, or I'm going to shift my behavior, or I'm going to tell my friend, and I think that's where there's a lot of leaders that are kind of leadering ineffectively. We're like, well, I was in that meeting, and if we were to get people to take action, even if it is, I want to go get you to read these 6 scripts at a happy hour or on the phone or in a chat, like test this in the marketplace and let me know what they say. Like we should always be inspiring some sort of action or activity. And I think a lot of people they're not quite sure. And,
Okay.
and I get it. So it's, listen to creative people, hang out with creative people. That helps.
Any other questions for Marcel? Heath?
So I have 2 things, Mayor, I want to just add on. I found some great creative tools in artificial intelligence. I'm a subscriber to ChatGPT, and there's some great creative tools that are connected to that. So that, and even if the end product isn't what you want, it can at least kick out a stimulus, something that looks close to like what you want, and then you can just take it and perfect it from there.
Yeah.
Oh, we
And
know we're listening to Heath right now then.
I have to say, Heath, I have a whole children's book I'm about to launch that it was my words, but it was visuals were designed with AI from canva.com.
Yeah, Canva connects to ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And so because it's expensive to hire a graphic designer, and I'm so sorry, Brian, for saying that, but there are I had this idea for this kid's book, and I'm like, how am I gonna articulate that to, an expensive graphic designer, whereas I could run through 15 iterations pretty quick in the Canva AI.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'll take it. You can you start to get a perspective on what looks.
But Marcel, I also had a question.
Yeah.
So for those of us who may not be that deeply engaged in social media, really my 2 platforms are LinkedIn and Facebook, which I maybe look at a couple of times a week. You've been trying for months to get me on Instagram. I know it's an easy process to go through to sign that up. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to train myself to check in on that any type of regular basis, or to think to create content for it. Are there other platforms outside like Facebook, Instagram, that you think can have an impact?
Yeah, YouTube, absolutely. I recommend if you guys don't all have a YouTube page or channel, even if you just go in to comment on other people's, it's one of the best platforms for creators to find great teachers, tutorials, advice, that type of thing. Pinterest is wonderful. It's very, very visual heavy, less words, more pictures. So a lot of the instructographs, infographics, if you go in there, you'll just be inspired by different frameworks for visuals. Then you look at that and you're like, okay, how do I put my content into that? Would it work? Right. So there's kind of like a borrow and twist tactic that you can do. I'm not a huge fan of there's a bunch of, chat platform type places that are all just word based. And I'm not a reader. I like knowledge and wisdom, but I don't want to read your essay. I want to see you walking. I like people who demonstrate the lesson. And so YouTube's great for that.
In your opinion, which one has the best ROI?
Probably YouTube long term. It's like the largest search engine in the world.
Yeah,
And if
you're
you're going
right.
to create, say, a video a week teaching, you will get potentially tens of thousands over 10 years, just like compound interest for stocks. Like it's not like month one you're going to make 20 grand.
Mhm.
But I know creators right now who are making 5 to 20 grand from their YouTube channel because they're literally communicating to millions of people every month because they're amazing. And getting to that point of talent and that creative confidence there's a runtime for that. you know.
Thanks.
Michael, did you have a question?
No, yeah, well, question / comment, great presentation. When I am sort of intentionally trying to be creative
Mhm.
for the purposes of presenting,
Mhm.
I often find the greatest benefit of that isn't actually for the purposes of presenting, it's going through the exercise of clarifying and simplifying. And so and the icing on the cake is that I have something presentable, or I try to have something presentable.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's what you experience, or I wonder if that is something that you see as a component, a value proposition of what you do and what you present. The
Yeah.
fact that you are sitting down, or I am sitting down and thinking about what's important here. What do I need to clarify? What do I need to simplify? How do I do that?
Yeah. And that's where, for me, separating the data from how many conversations, sales appointments, proposals, and paid checks we get. When I was walking that demonstration through with a financial advisor years ago, I said, this isn't for how to like build your net worth. This is how to like know your net profit. And she says, I've never been explained to that in my life. Like no one had ever told her a story of how you get to the net profit, which to me is a pretty big like business component if we're running our business every month. So while it may look kind of messy or not that simple, the storytelling, it's actually pretty simple. And then you're like, well, which piece of fruit or vegetable were you based on your efforts? And you're like, oh shoot, I had a sour grape or it was a juicy watermelon. To me, it's simple, but it's also social. So to me, it's when you want to talk to somebody else who's on your team and you want that collaborative encouragement, or you want to share in the conversation. And I've been taking on some pretty hard conversations that I think a lot of people just don't have. And that's where I don't know if simple is always the right direction as much as it's social. Am I getting change? Am I getting buy-in?
Okay.
Am I getting people to make a choice? Because to me, marketing is not that simple. I mean, people are people and having conversations are simple, but no conversation is exactly the same. And that's like with data art, you can really kind of see, wow, we went really deep over here, and this one was maybe more surface level. So I don't know. Does
Yeah,
that
no,
answer
that's great. I appreciate that. Yeah.
like there's a time for simple and there's a time to impress people with all the knowledge you have.
Right.
Like,
Right.
because we're not selling ice cream cones. Like that's simple.
Mm.
You know.
Okay. Any other questions for Marcel? This is your chance. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next portion of the meeting, which is really kind of the real meat and potatoes here, right? Because we're going to go, oops, I need to reclaim host. Mine. Okay. Now I can share. We're going to go into the speech breakout. This is where Marcel gets the really difficult opportunity to not contribute unless she blatantly hears us miss something. This is for us to dive deeper into her presentation. It proves we were listening and also allows us to kind of figure out things a little bit deeper. Target market, for example. What people and or businesses would need Marcel's services?
I feel like anyone that I know a lot of business owners like myself where we struggle with the creative side. We really do, like, and understanding that not everybody has the same kind of thinking when we're presenting to them. So I think anybody that does presentations, often sales presentations, like I've used Marcel a little bit. I hope to use a lot more. but just really, she can, like Marcel adds the color. So most business people that I know that I am friends with, we're all kind of like stuck in this.
You're very
form.
black and white.
Yeah, very black and white, very, boring, I would say. And Marcel adds color. So I think any business person that isn't a super creative person would be great.
I like the add the color notation there. That if anyone knows Marcel well enough, that explains her very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other thoughts?
I would just say the same thing. I've been doing presentations, but I'm a data person just like Mara. And I just want to put the data on there and talk about it. So then I made this presentation the other day and it's all visual, but then I didn't put enough data points in it. So now I got to go back and add a few more things. So you're right. And basically what I did, Mara, was I took one visual that kind of encompassed everything that I was kind of talking about. It was hard, believe me, because I did a lot of searching for visuals to do my thing. But I think you're right. Anybody who is not creative needs Marcel. Anybody.
Good.
Well, I would argue that, also anybody who is creative probably needs Marcel too, just to help organize, that creativity into a coherent, kind of streamlined messaging. And anybody that really benefits from having a personal brand, I think is a good target market. Some people are stuck in, corporate environments where the personal brand is, sort of frowned upon, and it's more about towing the company line. But anybody that wants to break out of that, or like I said, it's up to them to be rainmakers. This is great.
Great feedback. Okay. The next section is key conversations. What triggers a referral? What comments should members be out there leaving or tagging? So in regard to us helping her syndicate, this is kind of bleeding into the third one as well a bit. How can we be really out there listening for opportunities for Marcel? How about my sales are low?
Yeah.
Right?
Or I'm not getting any lift on my outreach.
Yep. Heath, you had something too?
Yeah. And Marcel, I don't know how that referral to that woman from the Linwood downtown project, the district. I don't know how that went, but what I heard her say was, they needed to get their message out to more people as she was speaking at an event. So I pulled her aside, after she was done speaking, and said, I know someone that can help you. So that was what worked for me.
That's great. Chris, you had something? Did I see you put your hand up?
Yeah, I was just trying to write it out. I was going to say, make a mind map after we get off of here with Marcel's name just in the middle, and write some people. Like the one that popped into my mind was a interior designer. So Marcel is really good with colors and data points and connecting dots and things like that. Well, a interior designer may not be good at social media or connecting with prospects, and she might be able to help out with somebody who's, very tactile, very design oriented in the 3-dimensional space, but not necessarily in the 2-dimensional cyberspace kind of a thing. So that was just one I would put on a mind map with Marcel in the middle. So I was going to try to, think of 3 or 4 different areas. So as I'm out in the world in the next month, hopefully 1 or 2 will go in that net, and then I'll just send them to Marcel.
A great idea. Chris, thank you for that. I love that. Anything else under key conversations people can think of? Okay.
I just wrote a book.
Marcel. Go ahead.
And actually, I want to find them before they write the book, because I want them to design it and not just do 80 pages of text.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to beneficial syndications. She's already out there a lot from the standpoint of posting video and doing shorts and doing some of these new 7 seconds things that are getting more hits and more traction than people, doing 90-second videos. But where do you think she could be if she may not be, and how can we help her?
Well, I think it's like she said in the chat, she said tag her at Dreamosity on any platform, which is going to then drive more traffic to her.
Yep.
And more people will see that.
Mm-hmm. Good call, Karen. Anyone else?
Let's create some revenue and then get that logo Dreamosity up on some digital remnant billboard time up in your area in Pacific Northwest. That big smile and Dreamosity. What is that? Just a few seconds here and there.
Yeah. I like the way you think, Chris. Love it. Any other thoughts, folks? Well, I'll say that even though Marcel has been incredibly active all over social media, I don't often see Marcel, you, posting directly into a lot of community groups about Dreamosity. You're helping your clients, you're helping Laugh Tech, etc. But I know that you've got, or you're working on a venue or two to do the Developing Digital U courses, which of course will be a revenue driver for you, as well as sharing all the brilliance that is in that big, beautiful brain of yours. I want to see you start doing more of those posts, driving people to you. Marcel and I have gone through all these circles over the years about her amazing business and where she wants to be as a public speaker and everything else. And a lot of what she does is uplift everyone else. And I want to see her do the Developing Digital U courses, for example, to get that going even more. So she's in turn driving and lifting herself, because it's so deserved, right?
Well, and something to kind of piggyback on what you were just saying, Brian. I don't know if you're already doing this, Marcel, but like putting together testimonials of people that you've worked with, like I'd be happy to be one, even though we only worked together for a short time. But like if you're so busy building up other people and not necessarily kind of touting what you do, testimonials are a great way to tout what you do, but have someone else kind of write it or explain it in a video, so it doesn't feel as like, like you're the one pushing it out there. But you would be posting it, because I'm not good about posting things, but still.
Well, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I do like an infographic if someone works with me for a year? At first there's a bunch of thank yous, I'm nervous, I'm excited, and then it's like, oh, this is cool, it's working, and then it's like, oh shoot, I have another problem. Like there's all these like I'm constantly getting little feedbacks, but it's not always like one beautiful testimonial. So how do I showcase these like 80 little thank yous I get?
I would ask people if they're willing to do a short video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think that, and exactly the right length to make those videos, but like people can say, like, they can summarize their experience probably better than you trying to compile it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, that compilation of the time that you're working with the customer, you could have 3 to 4 brief testimonials regarding the process you're taking them through. Check in on them after the first week, check in on them after the first 60 days, and then 90 days, or if it's an entire year's worth of a contract, record those milestones. And then they're touting all of the good that they've gone through utilizing your skill sets and guidance. So,
before and afters work really well too. The idea of if you have a willing testimonial subject to sort of portray, here's what it was at the beginning, here's what it is now. Isn't it better?
Great ideas. Okay, other categories. I'm going to go ahead and close this part down because we don't need to see this, but what other businesses can we bring in that can directly benefit from the potential referral basis between Dreamosity and them? And then of course, all of us from a digital butt in the seat. What other businesses can we bring in? How about someone who will fight ChatGPT till they die, a copywriter?
Yes.
Because there's value in them still. Come on, people. We're not all Borg just yet. Okay, copywriter. Any other businesses?
Photographer?
Photographer would be helpful. Someone that can do.
Like a PR firm?
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
a quick printer. They're often getting assignments to print something and then somebody says, well, what's the content going to be? Or developing some outreach and they need help with they need to help the client actually construct the messaging.
Mm-hmm. On one of the next slides, we also talk about other businesses that we'd like to bring in general. And I know that Marcel would benefit from even a voiceover artist, right? Because they often don't think that they can market themselves and they depend only on Fiverr and things along those lines. We both know voiceover artist Chris Kepler, who's been on this call once or twice in the past, and she shoots videos occasionally. She does little narratives occasionally about what she's doing and how she's doing it. So that could be one. Marcel, are we missing any key ones that you'd like us to, reach out to our networks to try to find and introduce you to, and subsequently to DigitalPNA?
Maybe a life coach or a web designer, an illustrator or a cartoonist.
Yep. Love to get some digital artists in this group. Okay, excellent. Well, once again, we did kind of cover just a smidge of this, so it feels a little repetitive. But for starters, again, thank you, Marcel. Great job today. Really, really appreciate your presentation. Her contact information is in the chat window. So I want to bring up this guy just really quickly and point out, as always, we're looking to grow DigitalPNA. And these are, again, some of the ideas of businesses we don't have in here yet, and we really think we should. And I think I mentioned this before, but some of these folks, historically, they don't feel that they could be part of a group like this. Or maybe they don't even know a group like this exists. Artists, right? There's multiple types of artists here: cartoonists, 3D modelers, voiceover, videographer, jewelry, even digital artists, etc. Those are ones that we really would like to have in the group and to be able to give them as much exposure as possible and help them grow. So just take a quick peek there. Get some oohs and ahs, and I'll move on. Actually, referrals and testimonials, that is where we are at. We can go ahead and start with Marcel. I'm just going to call him out here instead of going hunt down that thing. Marcel, do you have any referrals or testimonials you want to give today?
Well, I do want to share, it's a competition right now between Brian and Heath for the most referrals into the Dreamosity world right now. So you guys are both over 3, I think, for the year. So thank you for that. Yeah, Michael, I do need to do a one-to-one with you next week. Sorry, I canceled this last week. And CW, we're up for a one-to-one too. And Mara, I would love to do a one-to-one with you as well. So we'll just do that. And testimonial for Brian. He crushed it on stage, you guys, Sunday night for a couple hundred people. Too many slides. He entertained during, like, the show was not boring, but there was this very boring moment where the winner walked from like the back of the hall up front around the stage through this like ridiculous maze, and there was like this 20-second lull every time where I'm like, and everyone else is like, and Brian just filled the space, and he was charming and wonderful. So if you need a great MC, definitely check out what Brian's got.
Thank you, Marcel.
You're welcome.
It was the most painful walk of death people had to take every single time. It was a 2.5-minute average walk to get to the actual stage from where they were, because they had to go through 2 little flights of micro stairs, a wheelchair ramp outside of the actual, not building, but outside of the actual location, to then get to the downstage right or upstage right, to then get onto stage, to then get the award. I got tired even just saying that. So it was a stretch. Thank you. Karen, how about you? You've got anything today?
Again, just thank you to Marcel for featuring me in her magazine. I did a newsletter out to my clients today that featured that and my Medium and just some other things to show my clients, hey, I do other things besides, just being an advisor. So thanks to Marcel.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Heath, what you got?
I'm lost. What's my topic?
It's okay. This is the referrals or testimonials portion.
Oh, well, I've already made some referrals to Marcel, and like I said, I hope they're working out. And testimonial, Brian, I want to give you one. And this one is a little bit out of we'll call it right field.
Hold
So
on.
I was
Let me
a
strap
couple
in.
weeks ago. So I've been on the I've been a member of the Washington Association of Mortgage Professionals for a long time.
Wham.
Yeah, I'm still a licensed mortgage. I'm still a licensed loaner.
Didn't know that.
Yes, and I was at their golf tournament the week before last, and we were talking about our upcoming gala, of which you're the MC.
I will be the MC.
And you know, I told people, hey, I joined this networking group with Brian and been in there for about the last 6-7 months. And that got a little conversation started about just what a great job you do for us. So
Oh, thank you, man.
that was an unexpected testimonial for you. And everybody, you know, in the leadership of the organization is always thrilled to have you as the MC of our annual gala.
That's awesome. Thank you. Oh, you made me cry. So nice. Mara, do you have anything you'd like to share today amidst your blistering heat?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm still down in Arizona, just some health issues with parents, but Heath did send me a contact, you forgot to mention it, that of a group that is I still need to reach out to them. I've been trying to do too many things while I've been down here, but regarding the nanny agency. And for those of you that don't know, and I'm actually wearing it right now.
Very nice.
I've got a whole nother life that's starting, helping my brother open up 17 indoor pickleball clubs in Washington. So you'll hear me talk about the nanny agency and our backup care, which I've had for almost 9 years, but he's named me the COO of his new venture. We've got, we just signed the lease for our Linwood Bed Bath & Beyond in Alderwood. So
awesome.
You that are in Washington, we're coming in big. And then we also just signed our lease in Poulsbo. So sometimes I'm hoping that my networking capabilities will go beyond now not just one area where I'm meeting mostly with families, where I'm actually meeting with now a lot of businesses. Because one of the things that I'm going to be working with is the sponsorship aspects for all of the clubs. So anyway, that's just my big announcement. It's official. And so if I seem scattered over the next 2 years, that's probably why I'm going to be balancing both.
Because you are.
Yeah, I
That's
literally,
okay.
yeah, it's crazy. Anyway,
That's immense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Proud of you, Mara.
but yeah, Karen, I'm down in Arizona right now. So
Go have coffee. Cold coffee. Iced coffee.
What part are you in?
I'm in Chandler. You're up in Surprise, right?
Yep,
Okay,
opposite
yeah,
side.
I remember that from last time. So yeah, I was only going to be here for 1 week, and Dad's health, he's in a nursing facility right now, so I came back down. So I'm literally in an AC casita right now, not wanting to walk outside because
Yeah, because it's like 106 here.
it's like 113 where I'm at.
On your where you are, yeah.
So anyway, but thanks.
That
That's
just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
CW, Chris, do you care to share anything? I'm assuming you don't have a referral, but you might have a testimonial, maybe about Miss Marcel or something, or anything. Oh, and you're on mute. Oh, you're on mute, Chris. You can't hear.
I
There
had
you
not
go.
seen this presentation of hers before, and it was excellent. When she changed the colors of the background, when keeping the same text, it was almost hypnotic, and it had not been something I had seen before. It's super simple, but when you're trying to talk to the 6-year-old mind deep down and trying to get people to remember stuff, it's like, what am I going to remember? You know, I enjoy listening to Marcel. She's very smart. She's attractive, brilliant, that kind of stuff. But what am I going to remember 2 days from now? What am I going to remember a week from now? And so when she went through and dissected the first slide about leadership, content creation, that kind of stuff. That's going to stick with me. The what can I do and what can I do for other people on those two slides that changed colors, that was interesting to me. And then I was just very inspired by how she prepared and put work into this, that when this gets on YouTube, I'm going to write a personalized paragraph and I'm going to send to each one of those people I invited to be on at this noon that didn't show up because they missed out because they're on vacation like me, or because they're busy with their lives. But sometimes you have to be a little bit provocative to get people to get engaged. So that's what's coming as a result of this presentation.
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That's great. I know I have to go. Did I miss anybody? I've already forgotten. I don't think I did, right? No. I'm still reeling from Heath's emotional moment. Thank you, sir. Yeah, actually, just real quick, I do want to thank Heath because whether he realized it or not, it's those types of comments and feedback that have gotten me callbacks for events. And it's really nice because frankly, I don't ever hear those things. It's nice to know that I am talked about in a good light, not a flickering porch light. And they did call me back this year that they just had a changeover of the president of the organization and everything. And when that type of thing shifts, you always worry that you'll be left on the dock, right, as the cruise ship goes off into the sunset. But I was not. I was contacted, and that's good stuff. So thank you. Also with Marcel, it looks like she's itching to say something, but I'm not going to let her yet. Hold on a second. She is the new resident bulldog. Normally Rosie is on this call. She's our bookkeeper. She lives down in the Olympia area now. I've known her for years. Marcel and I have for years. When you give her a lead, she like jumps on it and attacks it and bites it and like behind the ear and shakes it and lands the customer and kicks booty and takes care of them. Well, I referred Silver Age to Marcel. She's now working with them. I referred Outside Lighting Perspectives, OLP, to Marcel, and she's now working with them. Honestly, I had referred Marcel originally to Mara, or all the way around, and Mara decided to participate in one of her sessions. And that's just really cool. I just love it that Marcel is hungry and she gets it from the standpoint of why we give referrals, because you're good at what you do. And she's fantastic. And I know that without even any second of a doubt that I can have the confidence to refer her at any time to anyone. And she also pounces on him and shakes him around like a puppy. So thank you, Marcel.
I'm a nice puppy pouncer. Can I just say, like, in honor of 4th of July, notice how well your network story tells. Do they like post a drunken photo of a firework? Do they post like amazing children running around in like blue and white dresses? Do they just like show you the watermelon dish? Like, you will see people creating massive amounts of content this weekend, and just notice who's in the game and who's maybe totally not on their phone, which is fine too. But notice that, I mean, businesses are running ads, companies are sponsoring things. Like, you'll see a whole different level of marketing and really just storytelling of like people having fun. And just notice the variety of the visuals you'll see from people in your network when you're, scrolling on Facebook or at the park.
Well, I don't know if you all heard little growl sounds throughout the entire meeting today, but this one has been eating my ankles the entire meeting and eating my hand every time it gets close to his level. He's a Chiweenie. He's an adopted little good dude, and he's awesome, but he's just like very clingy today for some reason. So anyway, I haven't been like having polite twitches throughout the meeting because I'm just weird. I'm getting eaten alive here. So anyway, in the chat window, I just placed the speaking rotation. Mara, you are next. I'm very much looking forward to hearing something about the awesome that you do. And then we've got Mike up after that. We'll let him know he did have to drop, but he wishes us all the best for the 4th. And then I am up in August 21st talking about Laugh Tech. And who knows, maybe if we have some new members by then, maybe someone that name starts with C and ends with Chris, or any of his referrals. We never know what might happen there. But we always do want to grow and appreciate that type of opportunity. And I do get to share the screen one more time because there's one more slide I need to bring up. So give me 2 seconds here. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. So we are at the events Anything going on people want to share? Does anybody else have something before I cover these two things pretty quickly? And this, I guess, is more for folks local, okay, unless you're doing something online. Does anybody else have any events they want to talk about? Okay. So real quick, for anyone who is local-ish, we did actually lose our venue after a combined 8 years of, well, no, 6 years, 6 to 8 years, whatever, of doing comedy at a local venue between two business owner changes and company changes. But now, unfortunately, they have closed down for good. And that was a surprise after we just had our recent comedy night about a week and a half ago. Suddenly we're told July 1st, boom, done. All the locations closed their doors. And it was a bit of a punch in the gut for Marcel and I, because this is a really fun opportunity for us to bring comedy to a local venue, keep it local, supporting businesses. We use it for marketing, for fishing for opportunities, but at the same time, it's just a real hoot. Simultaneously, while that was happening, we were looking and talking about potentially looking at maybe another venue to expand. Well, when one door closes and another door opens. This location is in the Shoreline area. Long story short, it's a huge venue. You can have an auction, a huge fundraiser there. You can have 200 people in the room if you're crazy enough. We're going to be seating about 125. We'd love to fill the room as much as possible. So if you have a gang or a posse or groupies or anybody that would like to join you for a really fun comedy night, we want to fill the place to the rim to kind of prove our worth, if I'm being completely honest. And it is a regular venue that doesn't have beer or alcohol or food, but the local restaurants cater in. So we honestly just need to grow headcount as much as feasible for anyone who does want to go. Get those tickets ahead of time or send us a promissory email that you'll be there, because then we'll count you as going, for lack of better words. So we're more attractive to the restaurants that we're courting right now for food. And then again, anyone that's in the local area, we have our upcoming PNA Northwest picnic. It's a yearly thing. It's a lot of fun. I support bring all of the burgers and the dogs and the buns and the sodas and the waters, etc. We can't drink. It's public picnic place or public park. So sorry, Heath. But we ask that it's a BYO dish, because not because I'm cheap, but because we have a very diverse membership count now, almost 100 members throughout the 12 chapters, and people bring incredible side dishes, also the occasional bag of chips. But it'd be fun if folks do come, of course, but at the same time, let us know what they're going to bring, and there's a process we can talk about at some point, or each individual chapter is talking about that. So that's coming up August 1st. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to seeing folks there. Okay, we are. Oh, Marcel has something here. You want to talk about that real quick?
I am bringing back my Developing Digital You meetup. So they're 90-minute workshops to get more comfortable creating video on your camera, essentially, maybe some other topics. But I'll have a link. I'll email it when it's actually live. But it's hold the date, December 16th in Everett. I've got space. Up to 10 people. It'll be like $35 each, so it's just a good intro price, but very much a hands-on, show me what button to push. I'll have some slides. We might even do some interviews. So if you are in that conversation of digital creation, this is a very affordable way to get some encouragement and support.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay. Anything else from anybody? Otherwise, we can just hang for a bit, answer any questions, or chat amongst ourselves. Wouldn't be awkward at all if we just stare at each other for 6 more minutes. But if you do need to scamper back into the forest, you can. And of course, have a wonderful, safe 4th of July. Remember, you have one chance to light that fuse, okay? Don't mess it up. Oh, sorry.
Just watch from inside.
Yeah, watch from inside, man. Watch the TV version. Or be like me, get the YouTube feed of East Coast fireworks things, and then show that to your kids early, and then they just sack out quick and fall asleep. Good stuff.
All right.
I guess that depends on what neighborhood you live in.
That's very true. My neighborhood's been letting off stuff for the last 2 weeks. My dogs losing their minds.
After earplugs.
Yeah.
Karen,
Earplugs.
I hope this was what you were looking for in terms of creativity.
It was. I liked I wrote it in the chat, but the numbers nerd, the doodle, the data, and the instructographics.
Yeah, do I just send you guys a picture of what I tried to doodle?
Yes.
I'll send out the
Yes.
minutes and then just hit reply all with your doodle. It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to judge you.
It's
We're
horrible.
not going to judge you at all. It's
Yet my daughter is like an artist. Like I don't. So it was in there somewhere.
So is mine, and my brother is too, and I didn't
Yeah,
get that.
I'm
I
like-
think this was
I did not
Heath.
get that gene.
I think this was from Heath just about 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Nice.
Right here.
That wasn't me.
Oh,
No,
okay,
no.
cool.
You?
That was
You
my
that's way better than I can draw.
Figures were okay.
Look at this.
That's good.
That's me apparently.
Yeah, but look at the stalker eyes, man. That's
The glass
fantastic.
is gonna do a glare.
Yeah.
It's better than mine.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see it. You can
I
take it
am-
if you want.
I am not sure of that.
I will be sending minutes. CW, I'm gonna add you in here so you'll get the highlights, and then I'll link to the YouTube channel with prior videos if you guys want to watch those. You know, on your holiday weekend.
There we go.
Or another time.
That is
All
so
right,
fun.
I gotta go.
Take
Yeah.
off. Be good.
go.
Take care.
You too. Happy 4th.
Great to see you, Chris. Take
Right.
care, everybody. Thank you.